So it was Monday night around 2:30 a.m. for the people that are Somniacs or night owls. I think that's what the word is. Somniac, right?
People that stay up late?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
or
something like
can't sleep. They got to see the breaking news by Shams, and I think Woj was part of the discussion that Kevin Durant has been checked in on by the Boston Celtics. Brad Stevens offered up Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and a future draft pick to Sean Marks in return for Durant. And now I want to give my brief take. So many teams around the league are doing this. I don't think it's actually they're calling Brooklyn saying this. I think it's really just leaks and rumors where Brad Stevens says this is what I'm willing to give up, and I don't think there's actually a legitimate trade discussion between these two teams. But this is a rumor that popped up because the Nets are trying to gain as much leverage as they can. And what better way to do that than to create some instability in Boston? Justin, you're big on Jaylen Brown. I've heard some hotter, steaming hot actually, Jaylen Brown takes from you in the past. What do you think about this trade from Boston's perspective? Would you even do the first offer that I just talked about?
I mean, so honestly, I'm gonna just bounce a question right back at you guys because I was just thinking about this morning. Was does a duo of Tatum and KD is that better than? Does it make them that much better than Tatum and Jalen Brown?
In the now, 2022,
In the immediate future, I know. How old is KD?
34, turning
34.
34.
34.
Okay, so in the immediate future, what duo would you rather have going into the next two seasons?
Next two seasons, I would rather have KD.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for the immediate future, obviously KD, but when you take into account how much they're giving up, like their starting lineup would still be one of the best in the league, if not the best. But if you look at that bench, they would be losing a lot of that depth.
One thing I'll
So
say though
it's
is while you're only losing Derek White from that reserves, the issue is Kevin Durant is a player who in Brooklyn couldn't stay available. And for the Celtics, Jaylen Brown is a player who could. He played over 60 games this last season. I think in this stage of KD's career, he can't give you over 50 games. And
Mhm.
for the Celtics, you're playing an Eastern Conference where seeding does matter. There's about 4 or 5 teams that are legitimate contenders. I'm throwing Philadelphia in the mix. Still got Miami there. And so, how many games are available in the regular season, how many games you can win then matters a lot more. And I think you look at Jaylen Brown, he's just 25 years old. There's an 8-year gap between those two players. While Kevin Durant can help elevate your ceiling a little bit more in the postseason, I think long term, Jaylen Brown gives you a better shot to become a dynasty. And for the Celtics, you're not looking to just get one quick championship. I think it's number 18. You're looking to win multiple. And more importantly, you want to keep together a wing tandem that every team around the league is trying to replicate, and none of them have been able to even succeed in drafting one of those two guys, let alone two in back-to-back drafts.
You know, I'm there with you. I that's why thinking about it, I would prefer if Boston would just hold on to Jalen Brown. There's not many. It doesn't come around too often when you got that two talented forwards on your team that you can just build around. You know, these guys both play defense. They play elite defense, elite offense. We saw it in the postseason. They just led their team to the NBA Finals. This is something you want to build around. You just don't want to throw it away right now for maybe two MVP seasons of KD that don't guarantee you a finals appearance. You know, take what you have in Jalen Brown, continue to build in that because, like I said, a lot of teams would kill for what Boston has right now. And if they just throw it away now just for the immediate success or just the glitz and glamour of a Kevin Durant having one of the top five players in the league, sure, that brings people into the arena, but ultimately, you want long, sustained success. You don't just want 2 years of glory, potential glory. So I don't know. I'm not with it. I think Boston is a little crazy, and partially, I think that kind of fractures the relationship between Jalen Brown and the front office because yo, this guy thinks that he's in there for the long haul, and now he's going to be a free agent in what about 2 years?
Unrestricted, by the way, my man,
Okay,
not restricted.
he's going to remember this. He's going to remember this. He can go out there and prove that he's better elsewhere, that he can lead a team, or maybe he stays put with Jason Tatum in Boston. But I'm sure his feelings are hurt a little bit.
so I want to jump right off that. So I did hear a report. I think Shams is the one who initially reported it, right? He said the trade offer. This was the trade offer that happened. But a little bit after that, I don't know if it was a day or two or the same day. Adrian Wojnarowski said a piece on this, and he said that this trade is actually like old. Like this is an old trade. So he's projecting he thinks it was around like early July, you know what I mean? Like right when the trades were allowed to happen. So the front office has been sitting on this for a month. They've known this, and Jalen hasn't heard anything about that. I mean, we just go back to earlier this year in January, early January, people were talking, and I got to admit, I was one of them because I didn't see that I didn't see them playing together as a tandem that well. I didn't see it meshing that well, not just this season, but seasons prior. They didn't they weren't they should be a number one seed easily every season, and for them not to, because I mean, just look at the talent that they have on that team. That they're built for the regular season with the depth that they have, and they've got the elite defense and elite offense from multiple positions. They've got the veteran back that they never should have traded in Al Horford to begin with. It's not a coincidence that when they got Al Horford back, they started making those runs again. So I look at it, and then we get a tweet from Jaylen Brown like an hour or two right after the report came out saying tweeted just SMH, shake my head. Like, so he thought they made this great run from January on. Nobody saw this coming to all the way to the NBA finals. They figured it out. Udoka had a lot to do with that, I would imagine. You know, putting everything together and having everything mesh together well. And I guess Jalen was probably thinking in his head, all right, we're here for the long haul. We're ready to take that next step now. Now we're going to be contenders each and every year, like legitimate contenders each and every year. And now to find out that a couple weeks after that NBA Finals, guess what, Jalen? You were getting put into a trade package for Kevin Durant. So I think that's very highly disrespectful from the Boston Celtics front office that they would even entertain this. Like I know it's KD, and every team wants a KD. There's 30 teams that want KD, and I'm including the Brooklyn Nets. They want KD, but getting rid of Jaylen Brown and messing with that unit, and you're not just getting rid of Jaylen Brown. You're getting rid of Derek White. You're getting rid of Grant Williams or Robert Williams, depending on which one the Nets would want. You're getting rid of a Marcus Smart. You're getting rid of a bunch of picks. You're getting rid of a lot of your depth and your talent that have worked together over these years and gained a level of comfortability with each other. And that's what it's all about. I mean, look at the Golden State Warriors. That core unit has really stayed together. And it's hard to build new rapport with new teammates year in and year out. I mean, you look at all the super teams that have ever been created. Usually that first year they struggle. You look at the Miami Heat, you look at the Boston Celtics. Um, Not much with the Warriors because that team was just stupid stacked. I mean,
The
73
Nets.
and yeah, the Nets 73 the Warriors were 73 and 9, and all they did was basically take Harrison Barnes out and plug into Kevin Durant. You're going to be pretty much a lot better when you do that. So and just to jump off the last thing Justin said about Jaylen Brown, I'm a big believer in Jaylen Brown too. I think when we first started this podcast slash show, I said there were moments in this playoff where I was like, I turned my head a little bit. And I was like, are we sure Jason Tatum is the guy and it's not Jaylen Brown? Now both of them had their struggles in the finals. Jason Tatum didn't play up to his standards, and Jaylen Brown was loosey goosey with the basketball all series long,
All postseason, honestly.
all postseason too. I mean, I think they were 1 and 2 in turnovers throughout that entire postseason run.
Yeah.
So just to finish it up, I mean, I believe Jaylen Brown can be a number one on a team. I truly believe that. And the Boston Celtics are playing with fire here, putting him in that trade offer and hoping that he forgives and forgets in 2 years and stays. But you know, grudges hold deep, and if he doesn't like that and he goes and says, you know what, in 2 years I'm gonna go see and be the leader of a team in my for my own.
You almost said Miami right there, didn't it? Yeah.
Uh, Well, no, I am thinking Miami because he would be a great addition to Miami as the guy. I really do believe Jaylen Brown can be. He's got all there's real. I mean, I guess he got exposed a little bit with his handles this postseason, and that could use a lot of work. But everywhere else, I mean, the guy can hit 3 pointers at a high rate. He can hit the mid range. He can finish in um under the hoop. He can drive on anybody in the league. Defensively, he's one of the best. There's really not that much of a weakness in Jaylen Brown's game, so he's not afraid to make and take big shots. I would love him on Miami, but that's 2 years down the line, so I'm not even worried about that. If you really were to ask me, like, make a choice, I would say Jaylen Brown stays because if his contract was up this year, I would say, okay, now it's really talking. Like, I think he might consider it, like, going through this whole season disgruntled, like like just looking at the front office side eye and being like, you guys really wanted to get rid of me, huh? So I might leave. But since it's 2 years, I think he more than likely stays.
I don't blame Boston at all for checking in on KD, but the second Jaylen Brown gets involved, I'm hanging up the phone. I mean, I'd be trying to call KD to play for my staff basketball team. Anybody should be calling him, calling the Brooklyn Nets to see what it would take to acquire him. But for Boston's case, the second Jaylen Brown was in, hang up the phone. If you're going to try and get KD, you want to bring the three of them together. You want that trio. Imagine KD, Tatum, and Jaylen Brown on the same team. Jesus Christ. It's probably definitely not possible, but
No, that's not.
it's definitely not possible. But honestly, think about it. That might be the best offer that Brooklyn can get.
It's up there. I would say, and for all these teams that have been trying to get him, the Phoenix Suns, the Miami Heat, whoever else has made an offer, it's hard when you're like, I mean, KD said he wants to play with Chris Paul and Devin Booker in Phoenix, and he wants to play with Kyle Lowry, Bam, and Jimmy in South Beach. How are you gonna? It's gonna be almost impossible for Brooklyn to be like, okay, yeah, we'll take less than the market value for KD and just send him to Miami without getting a Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, or a Bam Adebayo in that deal. Or in Phoenix's case, not getting a Chris Paul or a Devin Booker in that deal. Like they would look at it and be like, so wait, you get your whole unit that you want, but we don't get what we want in return. That's not fair at all.